Hi everyone, hi Mom. This is just a quick tutorial. I was asked to show how I decoupage my covers onto my gutted book covers. So I showed you this, how to do this, and now I will show you how I attach it. A lot of people, I guess, are a little uncomfortable with, putting decoupage on, or you can use gel medium, or you can use Mod Podge, whatever liquid glue works for you. So what I use is this from Artist Mind from Michaels, just an inexpensive one. I use the sponge brush, and make sure you have a bone folder as well as a paper towel or something handy to wipe up the goo. Okay, so I'm just going to do this real quick, hopefully. It is upside down to you, I know, but I can't do it the other way around, sorry. So we'll just get started. As you can see, I paint the outside edge. So what I do is I determine the size of paper that I have that I want to adhere to the front cover. And then I visually see how much space I'm going to have. I want a tiny bit showing on this edge. And because when you fold your book back, if you go to this crease, then you got a nice border here, and it looks like it's a border here because of the spine, right? And I'm just going to try and get it even, top and bottom. If you're really, really particular, you can actually make little marks where you want to place it down. I'm not that particular. And then on the back, I've cut a piece, and I actually wanted it a little bit longer than this side. I think I might have to trim that actually. I think I'm just going to trim a hair off that real quick before I get started. And I think that's pretty good. This one's probably going to go border to border and then have a bit of a space at the top. I always ink my edges. I don't want the white showing. Sometimes it isn't necessary if I add a lot of texture or whatever with pastes or paint, but I don't know what I'm going to do at the time I'm doing it, so I always make sure that I ink all my edges, and I make sure that I do it in something that is waterproof, so it doesn't smear once you add your decoupage and stuff on the top, because you wouldn't want that to bleed into your picture. Okay, so I'm no professional at this, you guys. I've watched a lot of people do this, and they're so good at it. I, not so much. I'm messy, and yeah, sometimes I don't get it stuck down everywhere that I want. I do my best. So I remembered that I'm going pretty much to the edge. I am leaving a bit of a border, so I'm going to overdo it, And you can fix this up later when you do your final coat on the top. If you're not sure of your surface, it's a good idea to give it a bit of a sand, because maybe it's not going to stick as nicely as you'd like it to. So you can go ahead and give it a little bit of a sand. Just make sure you don't see any white, like kind of dull spots, because then you know it doesn't have glue on it. So then this is just eyeballing it. You have to be careful. Don't push it down too hard, too quick, because then you won't be able to move it. And I give it just a nice rub to get it stuck at first, but then I take my bone folder and I really push. See, I'm getting a lot of glue out. And that tells me that that part is going to be nice and stuck now. Okay. You'll be able to see the dents in the paper. I know you can't really see them on camera, but there are some. And then I always make sure I do those edges like really hard. I'm going to wipe this down. And I'm going to wipe off my bone folder. I'm smearing on. I'm on camera, I hope. Wipe that off. Now you're probably wondering why, oh, I gotta add a little glue to that. I don't like that. So instead of the decoupage, I'm gonna use a little bit of Aleene's. My paper separated a little bit, and I don't want it to tear, so I'll just add a little Aleene's. Okay. So, couple of things. Be careful that your hands are dry, because this is paper, and you know, if it gets too saturated, like if you've added too much glue underneath, it's going to really soak into the paper, and that makes it fragile. So the more you rub, you know, the more chance you have of actually tearing it from the top. And I know this because I've done it. So just be careful of that. And like I say, don't stress too much. It's going to be stuck down. It's going to look great. I just keep going over and over and over it again, just to make sure I don't feel any bubbles or anything like that. Then I let it really dry before I add any top coating of any kind to it, for the same reason. You could risk, you know, you could take a chance of tearing it again. So then I'm going to go ahead and do this side. Try to pick up any little bits that you see. If you're using a thinner paper, it will show through. So Yvonne White has some really good beginner tutorials on her channel. I recommend that you take a boo if you're new to this and you want some advice. Yeah, she's really great. Okay, so same deal. I know this is going to go right to the edge, and so then I'm just eyeballing top and bottom. So then I'm going to do it this way across to make sure that is nice and even. Okay, I'm going to take my bone folder. Now this one's a little different. It actually has, what do I call that? It's clear, kind of a clear embossing on the paper. I'm sure you guys have seen paper like that. So sometimes it's hard to do this because you've got all this in between here, and it's raised, so it's thicker in those spots. And sometimes it's hard to tell if you've stuck it down well enough. So just make sure you're pushing nice and hard. This is cardstock, so it's sturdier than this. And then make sure you roll your edge. What I mean by that is you take your bone folder and you put it on an angle and you roll it along the edge. That way you'll bend down your paper and it will stick better, much better. And you shouldn't get that lift that sometimes you get when you try and do this. And the same here. I love this Martha Stewart one. It's got the rounded edge, and so I use it like in places like this where I don't want to use a point, because then I might, you know, ruin that edge there. So, and every now and then you have to go over it. I take my craft knife and I scrape off the dried stuff. Even though I wipe it, it still leaves some behind. And if you don't do that periodically, you're not going to get as nice spread. It'll kind of, you know, do that and jab, and it's not nice. Okay, now I'll turn it around. And there you go. There's my front and back cover, and that's how I do it. And then from here, you know, I'll do my stenciling. I can't show you the other book because I actually did give it to my girlfriend. I will be using this stencil again, so this one will be listed in my store when it is done. And then I'm not saying 100%, but I'm possibly going to take orders for it if people really like it. Okay, so thanks for watching, you guys, and have an awesome weekend. Bye.